Okay, when I go first to David, and again, thank you very much, David, for the donation. He says, hey, we need a fantasy football league where you can bet on your team getting defensive offsides, false start, holding, face mask, and pass interference. Extra points if your players are criminals, abuse, arrest, murder, etc. 10 games is not enough. He should be in jail.
Now he's talking about Rashee Rice. 10 games is what the NFL wants to hand out. I think it's really tough. The layers of incidents involving players go from anything stupid like I had too many beers to a fatal car crash. There was a St. Louis Rams player, a linebacker, a pretty good player by the name of Leonard Little. He was involved in a drunk driving fatality, killed a man. He sat out a whole year, but he came back and played in the league after 1 year. So, domestic abuse, whether that's yelling and arguing, or whether that's punching, or that's strangulation. And there've been a whole bunch of strangulation things. So there's different layers of levels of discipline they have to hand out for each of these different incidents. And it's a tough thing. But at the end of the day, if you want to have credibility, you have to hold them responsibility. There should be consequences for every player that steps over the line.
Well, do you ever, like, for example, in Major League Baseball with steroids, they have like a tiered suspension plan. I think, isn't it like 60 days your first time and season?
It starts at 40 games, goes to 80 games. And then if you're a third-time offender, it could be career ending.
Yeah, it's something like that. So I wonder if the NFL should have a similar thing. Like if you get a felony, it's this. And if it's, almost having some sort of classification, or maybe there's just too much nuance that you can't do that.
It does become nuance. But I mean, the reality is Rashee Rice had 8 felonies handed down, and they plea bargained it down to 3. We shouldn't walk on 3. I mean, what he did was egregious. So, I mean, I said 4-game suspension. Nobody died, but a bunch of people were injured, and he paid for all their medical fee. But the league said 10. I mean, that's a significant chunk of the schedule.
Wasn't there a Raider like a few years ago that was drunk driving and killed someone?
Henry Rugg, he's still in prison.
He's in prison. Okay.
Number 1 draft pick, wide receiver, okay. Alabama. 150 mile an hour rear end collision, killed a woman and her dog. And he got convicted. And he's in prison for 3 years. Tried to get early release, and they said no.
Yeah. I mean, imagine if he comes back and tries to come back to the NFL, which I doubt they would even hire him, right?
I don't know if anybody touch him or not. That's a real good question. But being away from the NFL for 3 years, that's a long time.
Do you find that there's disparity in how each of the sports punishes, because Marcelo Ozuna is a wife beater, isn't he? Or like a domestic abuser.
He had an incident, but he served his time and he's back, and there's been no incident since.
Okay.
Julio Urias of the Dodgers has had 2 domestic abuse things, and nobody will touch him right now.
Right.
And he's toxic.
Yeah. Well, it's, the other thing about this is we have to realize all these guys are human, right? And they are a mix of virtue and sin, they're going to make mistakes just like most everyone else does. It's sad, but it's reality.
There are consequences for decisions. There should be.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, we move on. David, thank you for being part of our team and supporting us.
Okay, we'll go here to the practicing guitarist, longtime supporter. Appreciate you both, and we'll go here to part 1. Hey, Lee and John, this should be a lesson. First place in August means zilch. The Padres were embarrassed. Machado was 1 for 12 and did not address the media after the sweep. Is that leadership?
We're going to have to go back and do a statistical survey of Machado in postseason play, what his batting average is. I don't think it's real great. He's not a .298 hitter in postseason play. And I'm a big believer in body language. And he was barking at the umpire with the first at-bat Friday, and that stuff went on for the entire weekend. He went 1 for 12. They need a better player than that, and he's a leader. And, I still maintain Tatis is hurt. Tatis is playing really hard defensively, but he's got, no home runs in 78 at-bats or something? It's unbelievable.
Well, that umpire, at least on Sunday, was horrible. And one of them, Machado should have walked, and I think he ended up popping out like late in the game when he could have been or maybe struck out. So that I can't wait for ABS, fast enough. But a lot of times when Machado questions the call, whether he's direct or kind of indirect to the umpire, he's usually always right. I mean, that guy's eye is fantastic.
Not according to the umpire.
Well, I know. Well, that's the problem, according to the umpire. And by the way, I mean, Machado is a unique dude. Is he a leader? I think he is, but he's just not a rah-rah cheerleader guy. He's kind of his own dude, but he is unquestionably the leader of this team.
Boy, they don't like him in L.A.
Oh, no.
Ooh,
Oh, well, they had a
cow.
taste of him, and but he's the guy you love to hate.
They booed him. And then in his final at-bats, I don't know if you heard it. The chant was "Manny sucks." Went on and on and on.
Yeah,
but
he's the villain everywhere he goes.
But that was last weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll see where it goes.
Okay, and practicing guitarist has a part 2 and 3. We will come back to that. How about from Dave Dog? He says, "Hey, Raider Nation checking in."
Yes,
they're looking good, huh? You think the Raiders have a chance to make the playoffs this year?
Well, if the offensive line, and they've moved a lot of pieces around Colton Miller, who is the incumbent left tackle, if the offensive line can hold up, and they got to power back, and obviously Geno Smith has got a little bit of gunslinger in him, and they got 2 tight ends, and they're going to go double tight ends, 12-man package a lot, and they got Devontae Adams, and they got Jacoby Myers. As long as nobody gets hurt, they're going to be, I think, much more dangerous offensively than they've been in a long time. But they got to rebuild their back 7. They lost a lot of people at linebacker in the secondary to free agency, et cetera. So we'll just have to see. It's a little early right now. Losing Christian Wilkins, the release of Christian Wilkins, that's created a problem in the defensive front also. So Pete Carroll's got a lot of work to do defensively, but I think offensively, they're going to be fun to watch.
Did you see the pregame? Because it was Niners Raiders in Vegas, and Tom Brady comes rolling in with the white Raider jacket. It looked like Al Davis
with the glasses.
And I was like, oh my God, this is fantastic. But the Niners showed up in force down there. And what do you think of Jake Moody, the kicker for the 49ers, by the way?
They've done some mechanical things. He's got a strong leg, highly erratic.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to self-destruct last season and he'd be working at Albertson Supermarket by week 13 because he missed so many kicks, but they stayed with him. They worked with him all off season. He's come back and he crashed a whole bunch of long distance field goals in these preseason games, and they're going to need him. I think Frisco's borderline disaster season. They have so many injuries.
Well, like injuries layover from last year or new injuries?
Both, and salary cap casualties. They changed a lot of that roster. I dare you to name anybody in their wide receiver core, because nobody's left, and Ayuk is hurt,
and there's no Debo.
Yeah, and
I don't know.
I mean, outside of George Kittle, they're down. They were down 20 players on Thursday. They could hardly practice.
Well, isn't Jerry Rice's kid like on the roster?
He's on the Charger roster.
The
Brendan
Chargers,
Rice, but he won't make the cut now based on what these kids just did this weekend. Brendan Rice has got no playing time at all.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Frisco's got a lot of problems. This might be a step back year for John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. It's probably going to be painful.
Well, last year was painful. So this could be another one in a row.
Yeah, because they had massive salary cap problems and they had injury problems on top of it. And now this camp, this is what they've had so many injuries in camp. It's ridiculous. Okay, we move on.
Okay, let's go back to David. And again, David, thank you for the donation. He says, hey, on Saturday, at the end of the 3rd inning, the Dodgers had 5 runs with no hits. You lost because of your starting pitching, plus Machado is still a clown.
Well, the Dodgers found a way to manufacture runs. And Dylan Cease just walked the house. I couldn't believe it. And they just can't figure out, or he can't figure out, how to repeat his mechanics. He scuffled a year ago. He scuffled the first third of the season, and they fixed all the flaws in his mechanics. He had like a 2.93 ERA for like 3 to 4 months of the season. I mean, he was dominant. And at the end, he wore out, and they started him in the playoff game on 3 days rest, which I thought was a catastrophic decision. But he hasn't been right all this season. With the exception of these back-to-back starts he had a week ago, he hadn't been able to reduplicate that at all. So it's just a mystery. And what's the term I use? Enigma? Hard to believe.
Some pitchers are like that, because they got the potential in them, and every once in a while it'll make an appearance.
Yeah.
For some pitchers more often than others. I mean, we see a little bit of that in Blake Snell. There's a number of pitchers like that. You don't know what you're going to get, but if he's right, if he's on, it's lights out.
I can't tell. Is David a Padre fan or a Dodger fan?
I think he's a Dodger fan.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're invited. We wear Dodger blue anytime. David, thanks for being a friend of ours. Go ahead, John.
Okay, let's keep moving here. Okay, here's an interesting challenge for you, Hacksaw. Because you say, you do all sports, you cover it all. And so we want to go here to Schickster. He says, do you think the Adelaide Crows will keep their top of the ladder position heading into the last week of the AFL fixture? And he goes on to say, it's Aussie rules, Hacksaw. You said anything sports.
Anything sports, but that's a little bit off my radar because my radar is kind of jammed with stuff. All I can say, Schuster, is if you just read my website, I write on it every day, that consumes my entire day of work, digging up information, following, networking with people, so I could write all that for you on a day in, day out basis. So Aussie rules football, a little bit off my radar.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, it's one of the few things you don't talk about. But the thing I love is usually you'll be at a bar with some buddies having beers or whatever, and it'll be on a TV, and then you see whenever they kick it through, and then the referees, they come out and they've got this thing that they do. I don't know what they do.
Yeah, they wear the vest and the shirt and the tie like you used to wear.
Yeah, something like that. But it's different. It's kind of fun to see the evolution of how all these football, soccer games have kind of gone.
If I sat down and started to try to find Aussie rules football on my TV, I think I'd probably be put on waivers by my wife. I mean,
that's one step too far.
Yeah, that's over the line. And getting up at 4:30 in the morning to watch English Premier League soccer before I go to KUSI on Saturdays, a little far-fetched too, but some of the stuff is tolerable, but this might be a little bit over the line. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, let's talk here some NFL football with T. Will. And he goes, hey, I'm starting to think maybe the Steelers won't be as terrible as I initially thought. Talk me back onto the ledge, Hacksaw.
The most unique aspect of what's happened in July and August is the silence in the Steelers camp. You've not heard from Aaron Rodgers, have you? No. You haven't heard from any of the mouthy wide receivers? No, because they're not there anymore. It's Mike Tomlin's team. Tomlin's of the opinion they may have overall the best defense that they've had in all of his years there. And if Rodgers can make plays and they can run the football with the guys that have replaced Najee Harris, they might be really different. They might be really dangerous. He thinks they're going to be really good. And Rodgers is he's not quotable because I think they told him to seal it and just get ready for the start of the season. So we'll find out. And Cincinnati may have Joe Burrow, but Cincinnati's a mess defensively. And now the other report this morning is they've broken off trade talks for Trey Hendrickson. They're going to trade him again. And Cleveland is Cleveland in disarray. They got 5 quarterbacks on their roster, and 3 of them are hurt. So that's an interesting storyline. So, yeah, Pittsburgh could be pretty damn good. At least Mike Tomlin's of the opinion that this defense is exceptional. So we shall see.
Weren't they just looking at another receiver, one of what was his name? He has initials in his first name. Played for the Giants with the other Manning kid.
They just brought in Gabe Davis today. Gabe Davis was a young budding star in Buffalo, then got hurt, went to Jacksonville, put up good numbers. He's been a free agent. He's been on the street now. He's a younger, smaller guy, but he run like hell. They brought him in today. So they made that mess mean they're going to maybe sign him.
Okay. All right. So you got to have someone for Aaron Rodgers to throw to.
Yeah, well, they do. They got DK Metcalf.
Oh, well, yeah.
And they got 2 tight ends. And that's and they play power football. See, I think the thing that's unique about Pittsburgh is they're not going to expose Aaron Rodgers and say, throw it 45 times so we can be in a game.
Wasn't it Odell Beckham? Wasn't he
he has not signed. They've talked to him, but he brings so much baggage.
Oh, tons, yeah.
And he can't stay healthy, can't stay on the field. He was a great receiver with the New York Giants, but do you know how many years ago that was? He's had so many injuries, and it's also distraction after distraction.
Yeah.
So
he always seems to land somewhere.
Yeah, but he's kind of running out of time. I mean, we're almost to the end of August. He hasn't signed a contract with anybody.
Oh, okay.
What's that say about people's interest in him?
All right, but they called him in, though, didn't they?
Yes, they brought him in to talk.
Okay, all right.
But then they followed up by bringing Gabe Davis in today.
All right.
Okay. Pittsburgh, you stay in touch because we'll keep you updated as we go, T-Will.
Pittsburgh. Okay, let's go back to the practicing guitarist again. Thanks for your donation. Part 2. Hey, Fernando Tatis is an average baseball player. Merrill is playing like an average player. A great bullpen is useless unless you have a lead. The Dodger bullpen, considered a liability, was lights out.
Well, I wouldn't say Tatis is an average player. I think Tatis is a great player who's hurt. He plays really hard. He runs the bases with reckless abandon. He covers everything in the outfield. He just does not have power right now, and I think he's got an oblique injury. Machado is up and Machado is down. They need Machado to be dominant all the time. They got glitches in the starting rotation now. I mean, you got 3 starters who are either not there, Michael King, or not complete, like Dylan Cease, or not 100% healthy, like Yu Darvish. That's 3 starters. And there's no Joe Musgrove, so that's really, you're down 4. So, I mean, outside of Dink Pavetta, the next time you hand the ball to somebody else, you don't know what you have. Great bullpen, no argument there. 6-pack, real good group. But so they're not a complete team right now. But again, we're all kind of overreacting to the letdown of the weekend to lose 3 to the Dodgers. If the Dodgers come in this weekend and the Padres sweep them, next Monday we'll be on the table getting ready for playoff tickets. If the Dodgers come in and win, then we'll probably be telling you when the funeral service is going to be held.
Yeah. But, it's already now. I think the Dodgers are won 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
So, Big Brother wins the series. And then even if the Padres sweep the final 3. So, but I'll tell you what, granted, I was disappointed over the weekend as a Padre fan, but this is what makes baseball and sports fun, right? You get all kind of worked up and it's going to be a big series and you get excited about it. Now, granted, it was like a wah finish the way this whole thing ended, but I just like the whole idea of getting fired up for a series.
We walked out of here after last Thursday's podcast. I was so excited for Friday night.
Yes.
Now tell me, when you watch Dylan Cease walk 4 in the first and 6 in 2 innings, was it not like a punch in the stomach?
Oh, it was awful. And then Darvish giving up, all the bombs early on. I mean, and the best game pitched was when they had the bullpen game. When they started, who did they start? Wandy Peralta on Friday
and
night.
Vasquez came in and gave him some innings, and they sent Vasquez back to AAA already.
Yeah, I mean, they did hella better than Darvish or Cease.
So we'll see what see me next Sunday night. Then we'll talk more about it. But, all right, thank you for joining us.
All right, let's go to Casey. Good afternoon, guys. Hacksaw. When are we doing a play-by-play? Did you ever do any arena indoor football league broadcasts? Also, with the Dodgers back in front of the NL West, do you think they can hold the lead in the division?
First question, I did not do arena indoor football. I did indoor soccer, which is kind of like doing a hockey. This is back in the early days of the major indoor soccer league, the indoor league that they had. And they had a radio package and they had nobody to do it. And I had done hockey in Cleveland and they came to me and said, would you be the voice of the Cleveland Force? And I said, well, I have never done soccer. Well, it'll be like doing hockey. And actually it was, with 5 guys on the floor plus the goalkeeper, and then they change out guys and, like shift changes. So
yeah.
It worked. I did it for a whole year. It was kind of different, kind of fun. Cleveland had a neat team and I got to do that. So no, I never did indoor arena football. That'd be kind of different to do, kind of interesting. But in terms of the Dodgers, they both play the bad teams in baseball from here on out, aside when they play each other. The Padres have one really significant series. It's with Seattle.
They play the Brew Crew too, don't they?
Yeah. The Dodgers play Philly, and there's one other series the Dodgers have. But aside from that, they're playing Giants, Colorado, Arizona. So these next 3 games are really going to be important. If somebody sweeps somebody in this Friday, Saturday, Sunday series, then the other guys, I think, in a little bit of trouble. But they're both going to be in the playoffs, I think, unless something happens where the Mets hit the ignition switch and can get good pitching and get Juan Soto to hit more than 249.
Yeah, it's just like old A.J. Smith, GM of the Chargers, says, just get into the dance, and then you can see what's going to happen. I want to talk a little bit about the broadcasting. And over the weekend, I'm flipping just social media, zoning out, flipping through these videos, and all of a sudden you ever seen the female football where they dress up in the bikinis
Oh, yeah.
with the
I knew
shoulder pads.
that catch your attention.
You're like, oh, wait a minute, what's this? And I watched, I don't know, like 30 seconds of the thing, and I was like, they had actually like a play-by-play and a color commentator for this.
I think I'll pass on
And
that.
and then it just kind of got me wondering about, if you're building a career in the world of play-by-play, there's got to be sort of a hierarchy. You kind of work your way up from the bottom, and that means that someone's got to do those games.
So did your wife want to know why you were in the attic for an hour and a half? You were telling her you were looking at old books, and actually you were doing this, watching women's bikini football.
It's funny that that's a thing, but it's just more eye candy, more distractions.
I don't have enough hours of the day to do the things that you're doing on top of what I'm doing.
Okay. All right. Let's keep moving here. And
thanks, Case.
Okay. Let's go here to Roy. Roy's a good Dodger fan. He goes, "Good afternoon, Lee. Last year, I told you our starting pitching was in shambles, but we had a World Series lineup and steady BP is what is it? Steady bullpen. Yeah. This year, our starting pitching is coming around and offense is coming."
Now, is he talking Dodger baseball?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, you need to identify yourself. Hold your driver's license up. It says Dodger fan here. There's no doubt Dodger pitching at this hour looks like it's really turned to form. It's what we expected all along. I mean, they are now 4 to 5 deep in the rotation and producing pretty well, even though Sasaki is not there. And in terms of the bullpen, they have to prove it to me. Yes, they threw 10 innings Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Dave Roberts went to the mound a lot, and he yanked guys. Now, he can't be doing that every night. He needs some length in the rotation because otherwise this bullpen's going to cave in again. I was stunned. I kept waiting for the bullpen to implode.
No.
And it didn't quite happen. They kind of bailed themselves out. So I still have huge question marks about the Dodger bullpen, but that damn rotation's good. And that everyday lineup, they got enough guys that can hit. If Muncy were back, but he's got this oblique. Those things don't take 15 minutes to recover from. And they got journeyman. They got, Buddy Kennedy's been with 4 teams this year. He's your third baseman now? You kidding me? So I don't know what they're going to do. If the Freeland kid has played third, has played short, has played second, he might go back to third. And if Tommy Edman were there, see, they got so many guys dinged up. Kiki Hernandez is not there. Dodgers have got a lot of their role players who step in substitutes that are just not totally healthy. On paper, damn, if they had everybody, that'd be something to see, but it hadn't been that way.
Okay, now going back, let's say a month ago, when the Dodgers were starting to have a lot more trouble with the pitching staff, Dave Roberts was saying, our guys are not playing with a sense of urgency. And Dodger Nation saw that. They just thought the guys are going through the motions. But it seemed like for this Padres series, I think it was Will Smith that stood up and said, hey, man, we're going to sweep these guys. So it seemed like Dodgers had a sense of urgency for once. Do you think that happened?
Well, he made the comment last week.
Oh, was it last week?
Last week about urgency. And, Mookie had gone into another funk. But then, Mookie hits this big home run. And Freddie Freeman had cooled down a little bit. Then Freddie Freeman hits a big home run. And then Will Smith is he might be the National League batting champion if he stays at 319, 325, and that's what he's been hitting, then Will Smith will be the NL batting champion, which is absolutely amazing.
When has a catcher ever won that? Did Craig Biggio win it?
That's a good question. That's maybe a long time ago. I mean, I don't think first name that flashed in my mind was Thurman Munson, but I don't think.
Well, Manny Sanguillen, I remember, had a 300 average one year.
Yeah, but not to win a batting title. But this might happen with Will Smith. So they're good. But John kept telling me, during this chaos, we talked about all the problems are. He said, just wait. We'll see that they get everybody back. Well, here they are, and they kind of, at least the rotation looks like it's totally back healthy. I just don't think they have enough arms in the bullpen. If Dave Roberts is going to employ a guy in inning or pulling guys the way he pulled them over the weekend, that's not going to last. So to me, the jury is still out about those closers.
I think he's going to, assuming everyone is mostly healthy going into the playoffs, he's going to have at least 20, maybe 25 pitchers to fill the 13 slots for the playoffs, right? And so I can see how they're going to maybe change their roster of pitchers from round to round, as they get into the playoffs based on matchups.
Well, the question is Treinen 100%? We don't know. limited times. Sometimes he's pitched okay, other times terrible. Do they get Kopech back? I mean, he's really struggling coming off this knee surgery. He was in Oklahoma City the other night and was terrible. I saw a video. He couldn't throw strikes, and this is an established major league reliever. So they still got problems in that bullpen with injuries. Sasaki is not going to be there. I don't think Sasaki is going to be ready to pitch in mid-September. The one ace in the hole might be Bobby Miller, who they could have converted to a reliever. And last I checked, Bobby Miller had thrown 7 straight no-hit innings and 7 different appearances in Oklahoma City.
Good for him.
After they converted him. Instead of asking him to throw 4 different pitches, they asked him to come out, throw 1 inning of smoke, and he's got 2 pitches that are working. Just do that. So Bobby Miller might be part of a rotation to give him a little bit more depth in the pen.
Yeah, I mean, that's another bullet that Dave Roberts can use.
Yep. So that's where we got 5.5 weeks of baseball to play.
Okay, here's 2 guys with similar comments. Let's get them both in. And the one is from Matthew. Hey, wait a minute. Hacksaw, didn't you say in a recent previous podcast that the Padres were a complete team? And then Hector says, hi, Lee. Question. Do you eat the dark or white meat crow?
I do like cranberry sauce on the side with the crow. Now, you can't deliver it yet because there's 3 more games to be played before we get to the 1st of October and postseason. But when that comes time, if I have to do it, cranberry sauce on the side. And the Padres, I mean, based on what the Padres had done, I mean, you won 14 of 17 games and beat up some decent people in that 14-game stretch of victories. That's pretty good. But the air came out of the balloon last weekend. But the air could be back in the balloon Friday, Saturday, Sunday, this weekend at Petco Park. So, Hector, don't count your chickens until they're all hatched.
I think it was maybe Jay Posner, I think, said this on X, that if you knew that the Padres would only be 2 games behind the Dodgers on this date, August 18th,
sure, you'd
say that's fine. That sounds great. So yeah,
it is such a long season.
It is.
Oh,
you're going to eat a lot of crow during that whole season. Hey, there's a number of other people had a similar comment as Robert. He goes, Hacksaw, your information is wrong. Dodgers are not only 1 game up on the Padres, as you keep saying. Dodgers are 2 games up on the Padres, and they own the tiebreaker, so Dodgers up 3 games.
Well, they own the tiebreaker, period, exclamation point. Now that, again, home field advantage is going to be huge in postseason play. So we still got a lot of time left here. But again, we're talking about the emotions of what just happened last weekend and what could change going to next weekend. Season, in all honesty, Robert, the season is not over. You people are acting like it's time to order World Series tickets, either color them Dodger blue or Padre brown and gold. A little too early for that.
Yeah. People are breaking legs, jumping on and off the bandwagon. Okay, let's talk some Aztecs here with REM. Hey, Don Coryell is rolling in his grave. What's with his best Aztec teams playing today?
Oh, I'm so disappointed at the where their situation is, and now their own players are pissed off about what just happened this past weekend. I just don't understand the whole rationale of why they're operating the football program, marketing the football program the way they are. We'll see with the 2 quarterbacks. I mean, I was kind of really disappointed to see Denegal just complete only 6 passes. I mean, it practiced all off season, all the spring practices, and then everything in the 3 weeks leading up to this. And all you do is complete 6 passes. And the backup quarterback completes 6. He threw 1, which is a short look, and it wound up being an 87-yard touchdown because it ran through people. And they can't run the bleeping football at all. And of course, it was non-contact. It was flag football. It was touch football. So I don't know how they're going to get people back. I mean, they have to hit the floor running. And, last year they got off to a decent start, and I thought they were building. And I thought that quarterback was really good. The young quarterback, the freshman, Danny O'Neill. I thought he didn't turn the football over, and I didn't get a lot of help, but he got progressively more competitive, etc. But they could not score. I don't think they averaged 21 points a game. They might have averaged 2+ touchdowns. It's not enough. And the defense played their ass off. By midseason, they were gassed, and the defense caved. They lost 6 games in a row at the end of the season. So just got a lot of work to be done. And now they've had to hit the reset button because so many players left. So it's a clean piece of paper, brand new team. But I don't know. I mean, they should be, a week from this Thursday, they play Stony Brook. Who? So they should beat them. But, after that, then they start playing Cal, and they got what's left of the Pac-12 teams. You got Boise, and there's some really good quarterbacks in the Mountain West Conference. So you got to have quarterbacks to be able to live in this league, and they haven't done it yet. So I'm just kind of saddened because I like that program, and I want to see them do well. They are so far away from what they were at the height of Rocky Long, Brady Hoke's successful run. I mean, 106-48, that's what those guys were for a decade. That's phenomenal. Obviously, it's so far away from the Don Coryell era with all those legendary quarterbacks back in the day. So the town, I mean, I think they've lost the town. Now, if I'm wrong, somebody jump in the fans forum and tell me.
We got somebody right here.
Go ahead.
Aztec Mike. He goes, eat more crow when the Aztecs win.
Oh, you're just blowing smoke to blow smoke. What are you basing that on, Mike? I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, but you're sitting there. I'm sorry. You're sitting there pissing on my shoes telling me it's raining. What do you see that excites you about San Diego State football? And if that were the case, Mike, how come less than 500 showed up? How come they've lost almost 60% of their season ticket holders in 3 years? Mike, give me a response. Jump back into the fans forum chat box here. Explain yourself and your rationale. Don't sit there and mock me.
Right here.
I'm telling you.
The defense didn't leave. He says, don't go to any games when they win.
Defense hung in there for the first half of the season and then caved. Defense will be challenged this year because there's some pretty good throwing quarterbacks in this conference. So we'll see. But the offense is the one that has got to grow and get better and better. 7-19 in the last 2+ years. And nobody's going to games and nobody's buying tickets. Mike, you're telling me that everything's okay at San Diego State? I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean,
do you want to referee this fight, or you're just going to sit there?
I want them to win, and I'm willing to give benefit of the doubt to Sean Lewis because of his track record.
Exactly.
Now granted, there is a blemish on that track record because he got demoted when he was in Colorado.
But that was a mess, and they didn't do when they put an NFL coach, Pat Shurmur, in to call plays after they demoted Sean Lewis, and Shurmur wasn't any better with Shedeur Sanders than Sean Lewis was. They had the same set of problems. They couldn't protect the quarterback. He took a ton of sacks. Then he got hurt.
Well, I remember when Coach Prime assembled his coaching staff, and you were really high on it, and you were talking about Sean Lewis, this innovative guy. I mean, just imagine if this whole Aztec fast, Sean Lewis, real exciting offense. I mean, imagine if it came together.
Sure.
And it was real. I mean, it would be a huge hit in town.
It could be like the Air Coryell era. That was so different. That was so long ago. But it could be the Marshall Faulk, David Lowry, Darnay Scott, Mad Bomber era.
Yeah, why not?
But that means you got to keep your players. You got to stop this erosion of your roster. It means you got to keep your quarterbacks. Can't go through 9 quarterbacks in 2 years at San Diego State. So they just need some good luck. They need to hit on players. They need to be able to keep their players. But again, for Aztec Mike to sit here and denigrate me as a host, what are you looking at? I swear to you, if we just held a people poll and I asked fans, are you excited about Aztec football? I might get 12 people say yes. I might get 1,200 people say don't care.
Or they say, when does basketball start?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mike, you stay with us. One of these days, we're going to talk about some wins and hopefully some positive things.
I hope so.
I'm just telling you what my observations.
I want them to be successful, especially as they growing up into the Pac-12. I think there's bright times ahead.
You said Mountain West 2.0.
No, it's the Pac-12. It's not a big leap up, but it's a step up. Okay, let's go here to Mark. And Mark says, Hacksaw, you're taking your nut punch like a gentleman. Kudos. Pantone will be in sad San Diego. It's going to be an amazing series. I think Pantone means Dodger blue.
That's right. Electricity. It was interesting. They drew 53,000, I think 49,000 for the 3 games. But the stadium is, and maybe it's got to do with the configuration and because it's such an older stadium, the electricity in the stadium was kind of laid back. It didn't happen until there was the home runs. And then people got excited. And then it got quiet again. Petco Park, that's like an insane asylum. It's just people screeching all the time and chanting all the time. It's like going to a soccer game. They're singing, and it's like an NFL playoff game. So the atmosphere at Petco is so very different from Dodger Blue.
There were a lot of empty seats in the upper deck.
In the upper deck, yes.
Yeah, and I'm sure every game in this Dodger Padres series at Petco sold out.
But they were also exactly. But they were also going against Rams Chargers on Saturday also.
Oh, okay, but it's preseason, and
it's NFL.
It's NFL. Okay, fair enough. Okay, BDG says, meanwhile, the San Francisco Giants will take 2 of 3.
Oh, I don't know that that's possible.
That would be awful.
Hey, I think there's a managerial change coming there. They just don't have enough players. San Francisco is I feel bad. When they got Justin Verlander, I said, if he's healthy, he'll buy him wins. He's 1-10. He's had health issues all year. Robbie Ray was 9-2 at one point. He hasn't won a game since then. The Giants just are not a complete team right now. And I mean, outside of Willie Adames, who the last 2/3 of the season has played really, really well, and Devers has not been the dominant guy that I thought he would be when he came from Boston. So Frisco they just don't have enough. So Buster Posey, he's just going to need some time. He's going to need more additions to that team. Maybe there's more coming from AAA. I don't know.
Did you see that catch by Jung Ho Lee? We caught it between his legs. It was like a NFL catch, one of those weird ones.
Speaking of weird, who's an experience in the outfield? If he doesn't catch it might kill him. Roman Laureano.
Oh,
Padre left fielder.
He's a hell of a player.
I know, but he's also him getting to fly balls. He takes routes that are kind of weird and funky and falls down.
Yeah, he is.
He made about three catches. If he can catch the ball, it would have killed him over the weekend.
Well, he was playing center when they pulled Merrill. I mean, what's the story on? Is Merrill's ankle or?
Yeah, he retweaked it again. He fell out of coming out of the batter's box on Friday, but he stayed in there. But it just got progressively worse Saturday, and then on Sunday he could hardly run.
See, that's another. Padre Twitter hates the fact that he's in the cleanup hole. I think Kurt Bavaca was talking about that on X. Get Merrill out of the cleanup spot.
Well, they're trying to find the right combination. So I at this point, I don't know, but Merrill's had 3 different injuries this season, and that's a kid that just wants to be on the field all the time. And statistically, I'm not going to say sophomore slump because he has been dinged up. The hamstring really set him back. So we'll just see who shows up ready to play by the time the Dodgers get here on Friday.
Aztec Mike is just not letting it rest. Here he goes. Lucky Sutton. He goes, NFL scouts are at practice. No faith, don't go. 6,600 seated tickets up already. Held out starters at the Fan Fest. Everyone gets hit from the transfer portal. Not with you, has been.
All I can say is you may not like the host, but we're glad to have you as a follower on this podcast because we will continue to cover San Diego State. Mike, just don't walk around in grudge mode, please.
Okay, let's go here to some social media, guys. We'll go here to 619 Dano, talk about the NL West race.
There's another one.
Yeah, shut the F up, Lee. A couple weeks ago, you were crowning the crappy Dodgers as the NL West champs. Comedy.
Well, good. The Dodgers went through a real bad time. Did you know up until this past Friday when they started the series with the Padres, did you know the Dodgers were 12-21 and the only team that had a worse record in the National League was Colorado at 12-22? Think about that.
That's bad.
That's really the Dodgers with a $383 million payroll were 12-21, one game better than the Rocks. So the Dodgers win 3 against San Diego. So this thing it's like a roller coaster ride of emotion.
Well, someone's got to go out there and just claim it and say, damn it, this is ours.
Well, like I said, see me Sunday night, will you?
Okay, Sunday night. All right, so let's keep on going. A little Chargers talk. This is from Sparrows. He goes, hey, the most Charger thing is to sign Rashawn Slater for $92 million guaranteed out of a $112 million contract, and then have him blow out his knee before he even plays a game. It's the most cursed bullshit, waste of time, effort, and money, skill, and salary cap all at once for literally zero value to the team. If that's not charging, then I don't know what is. Massive sigh.
I think the stat I went back, the Chargers under the Spanos regime, aka their first family of football, have had 15 winning seasons in 43 years. So that's not a great accomplishment. That being said, this could be a pretty good team. Injuries are part of the game. I mean, I was amped. John and I, we first met and we talked about the growth of the thing and Ortiz's background as a player personnel guy with Baltimore, him coming in and make the decisions. And he's had back-to-back really good drafts. I was all amped the fact they had 3 number 1 draft picks in the offensive line, and they're going to move people around, and Slater goes down. You do have Alt. I'm worried about this Becton thing. Becton has not practiced from July 28th to what is today, August 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th?
18.
He's not practiced since July 28th, and there's no explanation. Because Harbaugh, we don't talk about injuries. Harbaugh doesn't tell the truth anymore either. So, the big issue right now is all of a sudden they got some issues in the offensive front. The Slater injury is just that's bad football luck. That stuff happens everywhere. They got problems in the defensive front. You can't replace the toughness you got from Morgan Fox and Poona Ford in a rotation and that defensive tackle slot. And they have not stopped anybody running the football in preseason. And they played all their guys. The guys that are quoted going to be the starters. So I'd be a little bit worried about that. There's no doubt they're aggressive. There's no doubt they got speed. I love the linebacking. I love the depth in the secondary. And they got a bunch of kids that they just continue to add on. So I think there's pieces of this team that are really good, but some pieces now that are kind of incomplete. So we'll see what happens. And they open with Kansas City. Damn. And they gave up a home game. That was supposed to be at SoFi. They gave up a home game against the Chiefs to go play at neutral field in Brazil.
Well, they're going to get paid to do that, right?
They got paid to that, but they're losing home field advantage.
Yeah.
Although a lot of people say, a lot of red would probably be at SoFi.
Yeah, and the Chiefs will probably get a lot of the fandom since they're the much more successful team.
Mm-hmm.
This Charger team, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure what to expect. I mean, they could be really good, and they won't. And by the way, this chargering comment that Sparrow was saying, in your opinion, what is the most chargering thing ever in history? Was it the Holy Roller? Was it Marlon McCree? I mean, what do you think was the most insane, crazy Charger losing moment?
Have you got all night? How many items are on the checkbox?
There's a long list.
There's
There's Nate Kading missing those field goals against the Jets.
Yeah, it goes on and on and on.
Or they finally make the Super Bowl and they have to face one of the best offensive teams in a century.
Chargering is more related to more recent times. It's not Dan Fouts throwing 5 interceptions in a playoff game against the Houston Oilers, or it's not the Chargers getting ambushed by Steve Young's 6 touchdowns. Chargering is kind of came to form during the Schottenheimer era and is now continued there. That's
when they just started to notice the pattern.
Yeah.
The infection was already there in the 1970s, and then the disease manifested itself a couple of decades later.
It's terrible to have a memory where you're in constant grudge mode. I'm Holy Roller. That was a few third downs ago.
Yeah. Well, I think it was 1978. Wasn't it the AFC Championship or something like that? Yeah. I mean, it's just been so many moments. I mean, I just remember watching the game with my wife, and she's like dropping F-bombs sometimes when the Chargers would blow it at the end. It seemed like it happened every single weekend.
That's tough to be married to a football fan.
Well, you are.
I'm married to a Steeler fan. Stuff that came out of her mouth. This is a Christian woman. When Ben Roethlisberger's throwing interceptions, she was standing up yelling at the TV. There was one Sunday, she's a huge Steeler fan. One Sunday, I think he threw 3 picks. And she yelled so loud at the TV, she scared the golden retriever. He got up and ran out of the room. It's from a Christian woman, too.
Yeah, well, you hang out with a Hacksaw, you're bound to be a football fan. Okay, let's go in here. Okay, there's a Hacksaw comment. Oh, we already got that one in. Okay, let's do some more Padres. I'll talk about Yu Darvish. He goes, this is from Jeff Crenshaw. No faith in Darvish. It's time to retire. Schilt is overrated and leaves crappy pitching in too long. They're out of their league next to the Phillies, Brewers, and Dodgers.
Yeah, but they're not that far behind the Dodgers. Let's just be realistic here. Darvish he's got 200,000 miles on him. And I said something to John a couple of weeks ago when Darvish came back and he changed his arm slot and his release point, and he had that one surprise game. And I said, boy, that impacts a whole bunch of other things with your body. He hadn't been the same since he had that one good outing. And they gave up all the home runs here to the Dodgers. So I think the jury's out on him. Obviously, the jury is out on Michael King. The jury has to be out on the enigma that is Dylan Cease. So that's 3 significant pieces of your 4-man rotation. Pivetta has had just a mystical season. Is he 12-4, I think, now?
Yeah, that was like what a great free agent signing by Preller.
Yeah. I mean, they structured the contract so he could come here, and he was on the open market forever. But people got scared away because he had a high ERA in Boston, and before that he was in Philly, and Philadelphia gave up on him. But boy, Pivetta, he's fierce. What a competitor! He's pitched really well at home. Now he does not pitch well on the road. His ERA at home is like 2.43. His ERA on the road is like 4.53.
That's weird.
Yeah, but so I'm not ready to give up on the Padres yet. I mean, Jeff's kind of throwing him under the bus a little bit early here, and.
Well, I think it's a Dodger fan. He's got to be.
Well, that's okay. But, your Dodgers were 12-21. Thank God Colorado was in the league the last 2 weeks. Otherwise, the Dodgers have the worst record in baseball. And everything in Philadelphia has changed with a snap of the fingers.
Yeah.
Light switch. All of a sudden now you don't have Zach Wheeler with a blood clot. You probably won't have him at all. And who knows? Aaron Nola is going to try to pitch this week. He's been gone since April. I want to say shoulder. And they got one of their other starting pitchers got a 7.14 ERA in the last month. So Philadelphia, which was really deep in starters for half the season, all of a sudden that number's gone down. So, don't be running around waving flags saying it's over for some of these teams, and don't be ordering tickets yet as if it's a guarantee. It's some of the other guys. Milwaukee's unbelievable. Seattle's unbelievable. However, postseason's really different. It's like a light switch goes on. So Milwaukee gets the postseason. I'll guarantee you, it might not be easy the first time because you've never walked down that road before.
Yeah, it's a bright lights. That's what I'm worried about with the Padres too. It was a big stage up in LA this past weekend, and they folded.
Yeah, but they played really well last year in the playoffs, right?
Right.
They did have the Dodgers by the throat, did they not?
And let them go, man. 24 straight innings. It was brutal.
But it is an explanation. It's really tough to hit a ball when you have both hands around your throat.
Yeah, exactly. He's looked like, what's that guy's name? The Miller basketball kid for the Pacers, Reggie Miller.
Reggie Miller.
Yeah, he's doing that to Spike Lee. Can we fit one more in?
Do more.
One more. This is a soccer one. This is from Harry. He goes, hey, critics, we're talking about Pulisic and all that. Critics, regardless of who they were, will always find something to critique about. If Christian Pulisic feels confident about his choices and they were respected by the team, then he doesn't owe anyone else an explanation.
Pochettino and the Federation signed off on all these guys, and it's just not Christian Pulisic. He's the point man because he's a star, but it was Reyna and it was Tim Weah. I mean, they had so many guys that were hurt. They were coming off injuries. And so they gave them this summer off, and they will monitor these injuries. But the positive that came out of it, if they had gone 0 for 3 in the Gold Cup or 0 for 4, whatever the number of games they played, if they gotten killed in that Gold Cup, say what a disaster. But they didn't, and the kids got progressively better and better. And they Tillman and some of these other kids that they found that scored goals, who could run, and you say wow. And they may have found themselves a goalkeeper too, in Matt Turner. So all of a sudden now you got Pulisic and all the young veterans who come back when they open up the window for the international sides to train. They'll come back, and you got the young roster that Pochettino put out there that got progressively more competitive. They're going to mold them all together. So we'll see. I have a better feeling now about Team USA than I did 6 months ago, or at the height of this thing where all these guys aren't playing and he's going to play all these young kids.
That Bearhalter kid did pretty good. The coach's son
did.
So I'm optimistic about this. This is all going to start next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it in the summer is when they're going to do this?
Yeah. Well, the Summer Olympics, but there'll be friendlies. They're playing 9 friendly games. There are chunks in the international calendar in which players can leave their club, their professional club, come home to play in friendlies for their national team.
Okay. So are the Olympics and the World Cup next year both?
Yes.
Oh.
No, the Olympics are 28.
28. Okay, but it'll be the World Cup in 26.
26.
Okay.
But there's a window in the international calendar where AC Milan will say, okay, Christian Pulisic or the guys that are playing the English Premier League, you can go home.
Here's a hall pass.
Yeah, you're gone for 10 days.
Yeah.
And there's holes in the international schedule that allows that. That's where these guys train, and they'll play 2 friendlies in a week's time as the unit together. Then they'll go back and they'll join their professional clubs.
Okay.
Hey, listen, I was going to say, we hope you enjoyed this podcast, but based on what just happened in Fans Forum, probably a bunch of people didn't enjoy it. That's okay.